Hey everyone, I am still having a little bit of trouble with my voice, but that's okay. I have my water with me. This is my favorite little canteen or whatever you call these. It is a school bus. My mom is a school bus driver, and someone gifted this to her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. And so, in my excitement, she gifted it to me because she thought that, because she wasn't going to use it, and that I loved it so much. That's how my mom is. So I try not to say that I love something. Um, because she'll just be like, here, Emanuela, you can have it. Anyways, let's talk through Broadcom AVGO. I've got a couple lines up here. It says where I had initially entered, and then instead of. So let's talk about this where I initially entered. Even if you look, I'm going to change this one to 15 minutes. In my strategy and what I want to see in my setup, I want to see the 15-minute and the hourly trending up. Sometimes it looks like it's trending up and then it just reverses or rolls over. But here where I got in was just way too soon because this is a 15-minute. We're barely trending up. You can't call that one candle trending up. And then here on the hourly, you can see that it was just flat. And I got in here and then it rolled over. And instead of just cutting it right away and waiting, I cut it here at the bottom. Yeah. So, anyways, I moving on from that, I was still watching it. And then around this time here, this was Wednesday, October 25th, I remember because I was co-working with a friend and I was like, oh my gosh, it's taken off without me. I was having serious FOMO, but I didn't enter yet. I waited. And sure enough, at the end of the day, I got this retest here. So here's Wednesday, popped up, and then pulled back here to the EMAs on the hourly time frame. And so I entered here. Now, if you look at the difference here when I entered too early, this line is the same, but this is the 15-minute and this is the hourly. So right here, if you're looking at both panels, it was too early. The sideways movement hadn't finished and I paid for it because it dropped down so fast and then I didn't wait. I decided to sell it here. This trade was off from the beginning, and that's what happens if you aren't patient and just wait for a better entry. So far, this has proved to be a better entry, and the difference you can see is when I entered, this is the hourly, it was trending up. Of course, it could always roll over, right? I said that disclaimer. And this one was also trending up. And there was a little bit of, on the 15, the EMAs are tightening, but I didn't need to see it pop above this 200 SMA. But it's not much about it can be about the 200 SMA that you see on the 15, but really that same area is where this is the level of the gap retest. And you can see it here on the hourly. This is where, after earnings, Broadcom popped up, and with a gap up, a lot of times you will get a retest of the line. And we got that. Got it pretty early. Whoever got in here at some point, it just started to roll over from that high. So if they didn't sell, it was just a slow crawl down. But it did give us an idea of this short-term downtrend line that we wanted to see break. And that's what I was looking at here. So we've got the downtrend line here, and it popped up above it. But what I want to talk about also is, I feel like my breath is too, like when you do these things and you're talking, when do you breathe, right? All right, so we're fast forwarding to the entry, and then what happened the next day? So the next day, AVGO popped up here and sold off quickly. This shaded area that I have here just shows where we've had the most noise, and to get a little better understanding of price action, or one understanding, you may have a different theory. But in this area and this area, there was this tension of buying and selling. So whoever put in purchases here, even here, right here at the gap retest here, and then the stock went ahead and did this, if someone was holding and the price popped to here, which is the top of this little chaos sideways, then people who are holding the stock are tempted to sell off either to break even. And that's what I think that what happened here. is that anyone who bought in this range, once we had that pop up here on Thursday, we had an immediate sell-off. Now, why I'm still pretty bullish on this is because we are holding, let me move back over to the daily here. We are holding our moving averages here on the daily, even though, like even today, you're seeing that wick, right? And that wick is easier to see. So today is Monday. All right, hourly is here. Monday, we touched that line again. And maybe people who didn't get out here are like, oh, let me get out now because that's the best price I'm going to get. And so this is where we opened the gap retest. We popped up, had some selling, and now we're here, just kind of going sideways. So there isn't any reason for me to close my trade. Pretty much, I'm just waiting to see if we're going to get out of this sideways range and pop up above. I want to see this now break about 347, 348, and start to climb up. So we're still above where I entered, which is great for me. So, but we are not really moving anywhere, and it's been a few days. But yeah, that's what I think is going on. If you have a different theory, you let me know. And then I said, I think I wrote down that I want to show you Meta. Yes. So I've been watching this stock because, well, I charted it, and when I charted it, I saw something here, which I've got this orange line. I think you can better see it on the weekly. That's the monthly. That's the weekly. Give me a moment. Okay, perfect. So you can better see this line on the weekly, and this starts at like in October, so of 2022. And I went ahead and drew this line because I saw it, and I saw that this was kind of, so sometimes the price will undercut your trend lines. It doesn't mean that it completely, or that it does invalidate your trend lines. You do want to note that they've been undercut, but as you can see, this Meta seems to be following along this path here. Here's where it popped up. Again, this is a weekly chart time frame. And then it came back down to test that same line, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, we're still technically going down, but this may be a bottom. Maybe. I've got this area shaded here because it's the area of, one, we had that decline from earlier this year, so the pivot, and then we have this sideways in this range. So I want to see this stock break above this range, but for now, I would be satisfied with seeing Meta climb back to reclaim, so pop above its weekly. You see my lavender line? So that's the 20 EMA. I want to see it reclaim the 20 EMA and hold. But yeah, that was just a few notes I had there. If y'all have different opinions, let me know, because I'm curious to know what you're seeing. And thank you for letting me practice this live, and see you later.